And
Fuck that.
I mean, I think that ruined the community parlay. No, the community parlay I think would have lost anyway because New Mexico lost, right?
No, they didn't. They
No,
won.
they didn't.
No, New
They
Mexico won, but they
won
didn't
by
cover.
2.
They didn't cover, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that cost the community parlay that LSU shit at the end. We're live, by the way. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Hope you all had a great Wednesday night. I started off red hot last night. My picks on the live show, I think I started off like 5 or 6-0. But then I did take a couple L's late, so it wasn't a sweep or anything. But of my uploaded video, I think I went 5-2, and of the bets I placed, I think I went like 4-2. So definitely a good night for me personally. Wednesday night was a fun night of college basketball too. We were just talking about the ending to the Kentucky game. Holy shit, heartbreaking, man. That I don't know how the ball made it to that guy's hands for that little floater game winner there. But anyway, we got 9 games to go through. Not really anything exciting. There's a couple bets I like, though. Curious to see what these guys think. Might add to my ticket. We're starting off with SMU on the road at Florida Atlantic. If you watched the video I uploaded last night, you know that I like SMU. But actually, the comments on that video, people are definitely taking FAU here. I'm going to put up my bet, which is definitely, I'm not switching or anything. I am on SMU plus, I think I got it at +6, but it looks like the graphic here is, there must be 6.5s open now. Toast, do you agree with my SMU angle?
Didn't get there on the full game. I actually played FAU first half, -3.5. I think this is a nice little bounce back spot for them after that away loss to South Florida. They had a couple away losses over the last couple games, but they have played much better at home. This SMU team is, I think, really you're getting them at not an all-time high, but a season high price. They've been playing extremely good basketball, and then coming off of that blowout to Memphis, I can see it a little bit of a down spot, a huge step up in class with them with FAU. So I just want to play FAU in the first half. I think they come out hot and ready to go, but we've seen FAU tail and fade at the end of games, so I don't want to deal with that. So I want to take them in the first half, and then you guys can deal with the rest of it.
Scoop?
Yeah, I like SMU on the road here. Florida Atlantic shoots really well behind the three-point line, but it's one of the things SMU does really well defending. Plus, SMU is just on a roll. They won 6 straight. They just dominated Memphis, had a great away win against Tulane. I see SMU getting their first quad 1 win here. They're just playing all around great basketball here. They have the best rebounding margin in the conference, best point differential. They're holding opponents to under 40% from the floor. Plus, their 4 road losses were combined 14 points. And during this 6-game winning streak, their offense is as good as anyone in the conference. They're not. I mean, it's great for an Owls team. It's getting not great for the Owls team, which is getting worse defensively as the year goes on. So they lost 2 of their last 4. And if you watch the Temple game, they were only up 2 points with 8 minutes left. Yeah, they're just not the same Florida Atlantic team as last year or even beginning of this year. So I like SMU.
Scoop definitely. He shaved his beard off, and everyone was making fun of him on the show yesterday. It got to him. He figures, I guess there's no way that people are going to make fun of me now.
I'm with them. SMU, I think they keep it close at the end. FAU really showed a lot last week when they were getting crushed. I thought they were dead. I had them in that game too. I thought they would win that one comfortably. I think they were actually like barely favorites, but I thought they would win that one. They came back, nearly did. The problem with them is they were fouling so much. That game was like unwatchable the last 10 minutes. It was so many fouls. So I really don't even take that game too much into account because they were getting terrible calls against them. I think SMU's a really good team here, so I think the number got too high for me. Ken Palm has it at 4. That's probably what I would think about for them. So I would think SMU's going to keep this close. It's the 2 best teams in that conference probably, so I think it'll be a close one.
Cool. Looks like we're all leaning towards SMU except Toast on his little FAU first half island. Community is leaning towards SMU here, 47%, 37% in favor of the Stangs. So community leaning towards the Mustangs here. Next game, Rutgers at Purdue, and we have a Rutgers alumni up here to talk about it first. Rutgers catching, I think it was 15.5?
Yeah, it's around there.
If you were able to bet this, would you take the points with Rutgers?
I know, I'm a Rutgers alum. I love cheering for them, but I kind of like Purdue in a bounce back spot. I know Rutgers is number 2 defense in the country, but they don't have the offense to stay with Purdue. I know Rutgers has Purdue's number recently. They beat them the last couple of years, but they're 275th in offensive efficiency. They can't shoot for shit. They have the 5th worst field goal percentage in the entire country. I mean, even with their great defense, they still let Minnesota shoot 51% and 50% from the 3, and they're an okay offensive squad. Jeremiah Williams has been good, a good change running the offense, but even still, I don't think they'll get close enough. I can't bet this game, like you said, and I probably wouldn't even if I could.
Would you said you would lean Purdue, actually?
Yeah, I would lean Purdue.
If the graphic's wrong, it says Rutgers minus 15.5. You can thank Andrew for that. So
that's some hefty odds.
Yeah,
right
I just want everyone to know I'm not telling you to alt line this minus 15.5, but I do think the number's a bit high. Rutgers hasn't been that terrible, but to be honest, didn't even look at the game because I'm unable to bet it. I can't bet Rutgers games. So let's bring up Andy next.
Yeah, if I could bet it, I'd be pretty heavy on Purdue. I think this is a perfect bounce back spot for them. They were beating Rutgers pretty bad at Rutgers, and I think Rutgers got it close toward the end. Purdue took their foot off the pedal. I think nobody has defense for Zach Edey, but especially Rutgers. I think they're more of a guard you off the 3-point line. Zach Edey is going to get a lot of work done today, so I think it won't be very close. Rutgers went into Minnesota and got pretty outworked throughout the entire game, so I would think Purdue is going to do the same thing to them off of a loss too. So
Toast.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. The first time these two played in Jersey Mike's Arena, it was, I think, 37-20 at the half. So I think the best way to play this is Purdue first half. I think they come out hot after that loss, and then I just don't want to deal with them. They've had trouble closing out games. I don't think they're going to lose or anything, but they've had trouble closing out big numbers in the past. So I didn't bet it myself, but I would go Purdue first half if I had to.
Hold on, let me type it.
Also, it's the Rack. It's not Jersey Mike's Arena. I don't want to hear that.
Do you know how many DMs I get from people saying, it's not the Rack anymore, bruh?
It's Jersey Mike's Arena. Scoop's holding on to something that is dead. 40%, 35% in favor of Purdue here. Everyone. Well, actually, there's a lot of people that click Rutgers, so I wouldn't say everybody. Next up, we have. Look, I don't know what's going on here, and I can already guarantee when I put this poll up, everyone's going to click on Minnesota. Does anyone have any insight? What the hell am I missing here? Shouldn't this number be 7.5? I mean, how, at a short number like 3.5, how could you possibly take Ohio State? They haven't won a game on the road since January 1st of 2023. 14 months since Ohio State has won a road game. And this Minnesota team's, 22-3 against the spread? How? I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something. I obviously, I'm not putting Ohio State up for myself. I'm putting Minnesota minus 3.5. But I don't know if I'm actually going to bet this. This has me a little bit scared, not going to lie. Toast, am I missing something here?
I don't know I don't really think that you're missing anything. I think that everybody knows how good Minnesota's been ATS wise, like 22-3 or whatever. So I get it. The reason that I didn't bet it, I had it circled last night at 3.5, but it hasn't moved at all. And that just kind of scares the hell out of me. And you can see in the pie charts, Minnesota is a pretty heavily bet team right now, and that number's not moving at all. So that tells me that the bookmakers have no problem only getting 3.5 with Ohio State. So yeah, I lean Minnesota just because I've been betting them a lot, just because of their ATS thing. But it just scares the hell out of me today, so I pass.
Someone asked if Andy's in the Discord. Yeah, he's in there, but he never uses it.
He's a watcher.
I gotta be honest. I tried to get into it, I think last night, and it wasn't working. So I gotta figure.
What do you mean
that
it
out
wasn't working? The shit
It
was
just
fine.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't letting me into
Andy's
the chat.
like the guy in the hotel room that sits in the corner, like the husband in the corner chair.
I believe that's referred to as a cuckold.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't know.
Andy, can you point your camera down now? Why are you standing so high? There we go. All right.
Yeah, it's because it keeps falling.
Argument.
I don't know. But where was I? Yeah, it wasn't working. We'll figure that out tomorrow. If for some reason the chat just wasn't working for me. But for this game, I wanted to take Ohio State. I want to take an underdog in this spot, but I could not. They have not won a road game. When you're getting to low points like this, you're pretty much not picking a winner, obviously, but I think they're going to keep it close with an interim coach on the road. They haven't been able to play on the road anyway when they had Holtman. So no, I don't think they're going to be able to keep this one close. Minnesota just beat a pretty good Rutgers team by a good margin on Sunday. coming back into this, you have a team coming off such a high, and then you have a team that's still trying to get to the tournament, kind of coasting into this spot. I think it's a perfect spot for Minnesota. But I tried to get to Ohio State because I really think at some point they're going to win a road game, and this would be kind of a good spot for them to do it. But I just don't think they will.
I don't understand. I mean, if you're betting Ohio State, can I hear an angle for it? I mean, other than just like it's the
coach being fired, and that's like a new energy type thing. That's what I've been hearing from everybody, but I don't see that.
I mean, I could poke holes or try and say both these teams run like the two slowest paces in the conference. Neither team's really lights out from three. You can expect a close game. Ohio State's second best in the conference shooting free throws. Minnesota's one of the worst. If it's a close game, I can see it. It might not be good for you if you're laying points with Minnesota. That's the best I got.
Someone said Andy's wearing the same hoodie from yesterday.
Not the same hoodie from yesterday.
I
was wearing a Georgia hoodie yesterday.
Fade him. He hasn't washed his clothes.
Yeah.
Like what?
Scoop.
Yeah, I don't think Ohio State picks up their first road win here or anything. Minnesota obviously has a really solid home court. 14-3. They're a more effective shooting team. It's so hard not to take a team that's 22-3 against the spread. 88% hit rate, so you'll be rich if you keep betting them. The next best team is South Florida at 76. I mean, they've covered 8 in a row. They won 3 outright as an underdog. They're not really fluky covers either. They're covering by an average of 6 points. So I'm not saying that's the reason to bet them, but last time they played, Ohio State won by 10 at home. Dawson Garcia went 36-10, so they could definitely take advantage down low again. I had like Andy said, I guess it's the coach thing. Ohio State had their time with their new coach, Jake Diebler, now, but I'm gonna assume he sucks because he's a product of Chris Holtmann. So I don't really know.
I don't know about that.
So we'll go with Minnesota across the board. I mean, this sucks. I want to take Ohio State. I can't find one good reason to do so.
Yeah.
So our poll is heavy towards the Gophers here. 64%, 25% in favor of the Gophers. Going to be super square, super public side here. I don't know why the line's not moving. This is pretty terrifying. I don't. To be honest, I don't know if I'm actually going to bet that. That's how scared I am of it. But let's move on to the next one. Michigan on the road at Northwestern. Michigan catching 11.5. I mean, at first it's like, how do you lay 11.5 with Northwestern? But then it's like, oh, it's Michigan on the road. You might have to lay 11.5 with Northwestern. Would you do it, Andy?
It's another one I tried to get to Michigan, but where's the scoring coming from for this team? Like every time we say this on the road, like who's scoring for this team again? Especially against Northwestern's pretty good defense. Like I don't see the scoring happening. Michigan's an awful team. Pretty much everything you want to say about them. They did play. I believe they played Michigan State pretty close for a while in that game, but that was a rivalry game. This is kind of a nothing game. I think Boo Booey will get a lot done. I feel like I'm only taking like the better team here, but yeah, Northwestern. How's Michigan scoring is my question.
I'm putting Michigan up for myself, but I'm hoping someone tries to talk me into it. Scoop, are you going to be the one to talk me into it?
No, this is kind of like the Minnesota game. I think we should fade Michigan always. I mean, they lost 8 of their last 9. They lost all 8 by double digits. No McDaniel, and even when he was in, he hasn't been good. And Kama's also going to be out for the year. I have no idea, like Andy said, who's going to score on this team with the 2 best players out for Michigan. Boo Booey should definitely be able to control the whole game. He's one of the best guards in the Big Ten. He could take control over any game, especially against an awful defense like Michigan. Plus, this team's also 6th in the country in 3-point percentage, and Michigan is 314th in guarding the 3. So, yeah, this is severely lopsided. Juwan Howard probably going to be fired after the season, and yeah, give me Northwestern.
Can't wait.
Toast, are you with Michigan with me?
Oh, no, I bet Kansas State last night. When you take
Kansas
away
State,
Doug
huh?
McDaniel.
You like Kansas State?
Or Northwestern,
It's
sorry.
purple.
When you take away Doug McDaniel and that Oliver Nicaragua kid or whatever, that's like 2 of their biggest usage guys. So now you're taking away guys that, I mean, you're going to be having guys forced to make shots that haven't been forced to make shots all year.
Next man up mentality.
So, yeah, next man up for Michigan. Good luck with that, bro.
Problem
So
is
if you
the
got
next
it, you
man
got
up's
it.
not
But
good.
yeah, I bet Northwestern at 10.5. It's at 11.5 now, so it's probably dead. But yeah, I really like Northwestern.
Michigan lost 2 players.
Yeah, their top 2 players, highest usage players.
And they suck with them,
To quote Coach Carter, next year we'll have new leading scorers. Michigan, next man up for Michigan. Someone said fade Kyle for picking Penn State.
Penn State won.
My man, they won. outright.
Outright.
It's a beautiful pick. At home in the White House. Well, not necessarily at home in a weird spot, but White Out. Penn State. I was the only one, too. No one wanted to listen to me. 51%.
I looked good for a while for Illinois.
51%, 26% in
To
favor
like
of
the last
Northwestern.
minute of the game.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
The last minute of the game, they were up, I believe, 7.
Which I've been told is the most important minute.
It is. I will say it is the most important minute.
Washington, short line here on the road at Arizona State. Looking at 2.5. Toast is you're going to take the Sun Devils here. You love this guy. Oh, no, Andy's the one that loves him, Bobby Hurley.
Dude, it's Bobby fucking Hurley all day. Of course I'm going to take the Sun Devils at home off of an embarrassing loss to Arizona. This Washington team on the road hasn't been like super terrible, but at the same time, I don't really trust them at all. A couple away wins at Oregon State and Cal, but that's really nothing that really impresses me. I really think that Arizona State is going to be able to play through their defense here. I think that Washington's going to turn the ball over a lot because Arizona State forces a lot of turnovers. I think Arizona State's very live. I think Frankie Collins and Jose Perez is going to do some damage tonight. Severe Wheeler's going to have some turnover issues, and the Sun Devils are going to win this basketball game.
Copy and paste everything he just said. This is a Sun Devil spot. I'm on Arizona State as well. And when Toast said Arizona State, Andy literally did this. He fist bumped.
I didn't want to be I didn't want to be the only one again because I think I was when they played Colorado, and I think they covered that one. But yeah, Arizona State. I picked them again on Saturday. They got blown out. They're coming off getting blown out by their rival. So Bobby Hurley will have them in a different light today. They will win this game outright. Don't like this Washington team much at all, especially they're a team that heavily relies on guards, but Arizona State's pretty good at defending guards. So I think this will be a very good spot for Arizona State.
Are we sweeping the Sun Devils?
No, we're not. I love Washington here, and whoever said we don't pick underdogs, we picked LSU. I picked Providence, George Mason, Florida. They all covered.
We don't need to go through every underdog we've ever taken.
I'm just
go
saying,
ahead and.
I love Washington here. Arizona State really doesn't have a home court advantage. Washington has a terrible defense, but lucky for them, Arizona State sucks ass. I don't think Arizona State's going to keep Keon Brooks contained. Plus, recently, I don't know if you forgot, they had a streak of 1-7. They just got blown out by Arizona. I know they're pretty good at home, but their defense is getting worse as the year goes on. They used to be this great home team. They suck right now. Utah win doesn't exactly move the needle for me since Utah's been sucking too. The Pac-12 is garbage. Washington is a way more talented team. They should take advantage down low, where Arizona State has the worst defense and the worst rim protection in the Pac-12, and that's Washington's strength. So give me Washington.
I forgot to mention too. This is back-to-back road games.
I know in the Pac-12. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Scoop. And your boy Keon Brooks, he had a fantastic game last night or the other night. He ain't gonna be able to shoot like that. What was he, like 5 for 7 from deep? That shit ain't happening again, Scoop. Come on.
Someone said they were hanging out with the guy that fixed the Arizona State games back in the day. I actually have a headache jersey. I have a Toast has seen it. I have a headache jersey. Probably the only person in America that has a headache Arizona State jersey.
And if you don't know, read about it.
Yeah, Google that. 49%, 41% in favor of Washington. So community leaning towards the Huskies. The community's wrong on this one. Arizona State up. Next. Let's bring up Toast. Talk about his Zags. Bubble team, Zags?
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think they're on the bubble. They're going to have to win their tournament. I don't think they're on the bubble. I don't think they might get an at-large, but I doubt it.
Wow, just a down year.
But yeah,
is the reign of the Gonzaga basketball program over?
I think we'll find out. I honestly believe we're going to find out a lot about them. If we can make it to March and we make another Sweet 16, I'm going to be flipping the birds to every single person in the world. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. But Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, usually a lock. But we'll talk about that later. As far as this game goes, I mean, I'm not in love. I'm not laying multiple 20 points or whatever it is with Gonzaga. I'm sorry. I would love to do it. I do think that they probably blow this Portland team out. They need that as far as net concerns. They just blew out Pacific. I laid 30 with them. They won by 29. So do I think that they win by 20 plus? Yeah. Am I going to bet it? No.
Wow. Portland plus 21.5. Fading his own squad there. Fading him. Andy, would you lay the 21.5 with the Zags?
No, I don't trust them enough to do it, but I agree. Like I wouldn't be surprised if I looked up and they were winning by 50 tonight, but I'm not trusting that that's going to happen. They've had a tendency to kind of play well below what they should be. Since that Kentucky game, they've been fine, but they're very. You don't know what you're going to get from Gonzaga when they come out. So we could see them blow them out tonight, but Portland, as bad as they are, could keep it close too. So I really don't have much on it because I don't know much about Portland, but Gonzaga's just been a team that clearly hasn't been who they're supposed to be. So
2 wrong answers there. Gonzaga will cover this number, but where they'll be on upset alert next game against Santa Clara and the game after that on the road at San Francisco, both of those dogs should be live. But this one, they will cruise. So I would take the Zags here. But the next 2, I'm down to fade the Zags. We'll talk about it. Scoop?
Yeah, obviously a huge spread, but I actually really like Gonzaga here. Gonzaga had three.
Wait,
three rough
Toast
games.
gets triggered if you say Gonzaga.
I know. I
It's
did it on
Gonzaga.
purpose. I did it on purpose.
Right.
Gonzaga.
So why would I even correct you?
Gonzaga.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, Gonzaga has 3 rough games to close out their season after this one, like you said. So I like their little tune-up game before their last home game against Santa Clara. Portland did lose to Pepperdine by 21. So yeah, I definitely think Gonzaga has the edge here. It's not the typical Zag season where they'll win the West Coast Conference, but I think that'll go to St. Mary's. But they still had a solid season. They're right in the bubble. I don't think Toast thinks so, but I think they are. And I think if they win at least 3 of the last 4, they should be in. Ike scored 21 or more in each of his last 3 games. I know Portland just has one of the worst defenses in the whole country. The talent's just really different here. Watson and Ike has a size over Portland in general, and that's with Karoma out today. He would be the only chance to stop them too. I don't see anything but a 25+ win here.
Agreed. Helms 22 said he had Oklahoma State money line last night. That's a good hit. And
Just so you guys know, I'm putting Gonzaga on VIP now.
You should, because it's a good bet. But then fade them in the next 2. Santa Clara might beat them, and then San Francisco, on the road in San Francisco, the Dons will beat them.
Yeah, San Francisco's winning that game.
I kind of hope they win all 3 so they can
I'll
face
give
St.
you
Mary's.
San Francisco. Santa Clara
knows how to get under Gonzaga's skin, though.
But at home.
By the way, Helms, I was talking about this with somebody last night. I think it might have been Andy, that Oklahoma State's basketball team, the football team did the same shit. They looked like terribly, and we were all like, wrote them off. Then all of a sudden they beat Kansas State in like a primetime game. Then they beat Oklahoma. And then at the end of the season, Oklahoma State was kind of a problem. Basketball team, 2 big wins in a row. Tell me Oklahoma State's not a live dog in the Big 12 tournament right now. I mean, they're hot right now. So, yeah, I was just talking about that last night.
Also, Kyle, just to your point about Oklahoma State, if they were behind their coach and they found
Mike
something,
Gundy.
They might go on a run.
Right.
Okay.
Mike Gundy.
Never
Yeah.
Yes, Kyle, Mike Gundy.
I was really trying to support you there too.
All
You had to
right,
kill it.
Kyle. Yes, Kyle.
Okay, that's what a guy like Mike Gundy does for a program. Anyway.
A couple guys have done that. Matt
Justin
Campbell,
Blackman's pretty good for them too.
Well, someone asked
Yeah, he's a stud.
if I seen the movie about headache. It's spelled like this. I just typed it in the thing. It's spelled headache like that. And I've seen the documentary on Netflix.
Hidaki?
Well, no, it's headache. That's I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. Oregon State at Cal. These guys were just talking about this game before we went live. You like Cal here, Scoop? I mean, Toast, right?
Yeah, I like Cal. Scoop. Go ahead. I mean, I can go if you want me to.
Yeah, I got you up here. You go.
Okay, sorry. Mine thing's a little slow. So first of all, Oregon State has been one of these teams that I like to play when they're at home on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, whatever. On the road is completely different. This Cal team, not in love with laying a whole bunch of points with this Cal team, but I think after that win against Washington, I know they played well against USC and Arizona State. I mean, UCLA, they lost by 1, and UCLA is one of the hotter teams in the conference right now. And then they go up and they get absolutely throttled by Washington State. Well, just so you guys know, a lot of people are getting throttled by Washington State. So that doesn't really bother me. I think Cal can come in here at home. They're trying to play at least for their coach. I understand that he might be leaving, but I think that he really wants to stay. Madsen is one of those guys that I think that wants the Stanford job too. So I think some of these guys are playing for him. But yeah, I just really think that Cal, with Jalen Tyson and AMAC is really going to be able to do inside. I don't know how Oregon State's going to stop them. So I like Cal big here. That might sound really stupid later on in the night, but I think Cal wins big here tonight.
All right. To bring up Scoop. Scoop, I think you agree. You like Cal as well, right?
Yeah, Toast said a lot of what I was going to say. This is a Cal program after all. Giving like I said, giving 9.5 with Cal is pretty crazy when you think about it. But Oregon State swept them last season. I know they're a terrible road team though. Like Toast says, they allow 49% shooting, 77 points on the road. Plus, they haven't won on the road yet, so that doesn't help anything. But they average 60 points per game, less than 60 points per game on the road. Jalen Tyson should really take advantage of this bad defense. The reason why Cal hasn't been great isn't their offense much; it is their defense. But they're playing an Oregon State team who's just garbage. They're probably one of the worst road teams out of the major conferences, except DePaul, probably. They just haven't shown anything on the road. If this was at home, it'd be different. They're just a bad team on the road. Give me Cal.
Damn, really? I was kind of hoping someone would take the Beavers here, but two for Cal so far. Andy, what do you like?
I'm on the Beavers. I agree with what these guys are saying, but I'm not laying 9.5 points with Cal. Cal's having a better season than I think they had expected to because they were so bad last year, but they're still bad. Like, both of these teams are bad. I'm not thinking that this is going to be a 10-point game. I mean, I don't care where the game is. This is Cal winning by 10. You're betting on them. I can't do that. There's not much I have other than just this team is not very good, and I'm not laying 10 points with that team. Can't do it.
This guy comes in with 50 emojis in his comment to give out the most public play on the board and gives himself an extra point. It's a 3.5.
You got a house though.
Minnesota. All right. I'm putting up Oregon State. This is the side I wanted to get to. Not familiar enough with these two programs to give out a bet on it, but I was hoping someone went here because that's where I wanted to be. So 50%, 25% in favor of Cal. Community likes the Golden Bears here. Next up, Oregon at Stanford. Toast, you already know I like Stanford here. Am I right?
I think you are. I think that this Oregon team is one of those teams. I say it all the time. You never know what you're going to get. They're like a box of chocolates. And on the road, off of a nice little win against Oregon State, I like this fate spot that had a couple days of prep. But this Stanford team gives teams problems that not very many others do. Stanford is absolutely huge. They're absolute trees down there, 30th in height. Oregon is absolutely tiny. They're one of the smaller teams in the country. Stanford shoots free throws just as good. Stanford also a very good three-point shooting team. I understand Oregon defends the three-point line as well, but I'm just not really in love with this Oregon team, especially on the road. Like I said, I think the height for Stanford is going to give them a lot of problems. Stanford also plays a lot of guys from their bench, which Oregon kind of tends to walk away from teams or get away from easy points with teams because of their depth. They don't have that against Stanford here. So I actually really like Stanford in this spot.
When I was looking at this game last night, because I talked about this one in the video I uploaded, it looked like there is a path for Oregon to be the bet here. But the thing is, they need their outside shots to fall. And the shooting efficiency from Oregon, we were using the sample size of the last 10 games. So it's not like we were just isolating 2 or 3 games. Talk about the last 10 games, and their shots aren't falling. And like Toast said,
and they also get. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and like Toast said, Stanford has the size advantage here. So if the outside shots aren't falling for Oregon, I just don't see a path. Stanford feels like the play here. Andy, do you agree with that?
No, I think Oregon's gonna win this one. I think the path will be that. I know betting on a team to hit outside shots and hit shots mid range, whatever. It's very dangerous when the shots need to fall, and that's the only way they can win. But I think this team, and I keep saying it and harping on it, they need it. They're literally the team on the bubble right now. They are the one team that needs to just keep playing as well as they can, and this would be a pretty solid win, I think, on the road at Stanford, a Ken Pom top 120 team, I think. So I think this would be a pretty big win for them. I think it just comes down to needing it. Stanford doesn't have a ton to play for right now. That's part of it. So I think Oregon needs it so badly. I think they'll get it done and they'll hit their shots.
I'm really big on Ohio State now since he keeps saying Minnesota.
I know. I want to take Ohio State.
So I'm with Andy. Oregon.
You're on the Ducks too?
pick 'em. Yeah, it's a pretty much pick 'em
Oregon.
situation against Stanford.
Oregon.
I'm all about that.
Change my pick. He said Oregon.
Plus Oregon, one in Corvallis,
I
a tough
know,
place to
don't
play. I know back-to-back road games against Pac-12 opponents aren't a great situation, like Toe said, but their last 3 games they played really well. Stanford lost 4 of their last 5. They're not great at defending the perimeter. Shellstat should take advantage of that. Dante's a better big than Renan. Stanford's a very turnover prone, one of the worst turnover margins in the league, and they're susceptible to getting rebounded at a pretty high rate. So yeah, give me Oregon, and yeah, Stanford's mascot's a tree, so I don't want to talk to him.
Okay.
All right.
As opposed to a duck.
At least duck something.
I know, like what?
And we're putting Helms on the hot seat today. He loves Florida Gulf today. You are on the hot seat. Everyone's watching. I'm going to tell this right now.
Dunk City.
Because of that run, Florida Gulf Coast is still one of my favorite programs in the country.
Yeah, it was
So
fun.
I root for them whenever. So
Florida Gulf Coast. Let me find this.
although
Minus
Kennesaw's a
2.5
very good
versus
team.
Kennesaw State at home.
Florida Atlantic. Florida. Man, I don't see. Maybe it's under FGCU.
Type in Kennesaw. It's probably easier.
Here we go. Minus 2.5.
Kyle doesn't know how to spell that.
I'm in. Bet placed. I'm in on this. I'm telling you here. So
I like that too. I like that too, Helms. Double revenge for Florida Gulf Coast. Let's do it.
All right. Next game and last game. It's the biggest one though. So
Damn right it is.
This line is now 13.
Do you want to take a second to apologize to Cougar Nation for all the shit that you've been running?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
I will if they win tonight.
Okay.
They pull this win off. Well, you guys know I'm on Washington State. I don't get this line. I mean, other than the home away splits, and the home away splits are definitely pretty significant here. Washington State much better in Pullman. Arizona much better at home themselves. So the fact that this game's in Arizona, I understand how that would swing the line a few points, 100%. But after that, I mean, we were using the last 10 games for our numbers. These two teams are kind of comparable as far as production, the same strength of schedule. And if you take away the home away splits and just compare production on the basketball court, these two teams are kind of even in the last 10 games. So I mean, I think this line should be 5.5, 6. Look, I'm not I'm not an odds maker. So obviously they know what they're doing better than I do. But this number just feels way too high. It's now at 13 on some books. I'm on the Cougars here. I mean, this should, on paper, be a close game that comes down to the wire. So, of course, I want to be holding 13 extra points. Now, it should be known that Toast is going to take Washington State, and he's a diehard fan. So, he's a little bit of a homer here.
Not a diehard fan. Not a diehard. My parents are. My parents will be at the game tonight. Yeah, I just think there's way too many points. The last time these two teams played in Pullman, it was like 8 or 9. I mean, if you take a look at the last few years these teams played, none of these guys, they're never getting double digits. Washington State, I understand the splits don't look that great as far as the numbers will, but as far as the wins and losses are concerned, they lost in a road. They lost their mountain trip to Utah, Colorado, and then they lost a game to Cal in OT. And besides that, they've been playing very good basketball. Arizona is just not a team that I trust to lay double digits in a game that I think is going to be kind of like a rock fight. I think Washington State, if they're going to be in this game, they're going to have to slow the game down. Arizona obviously runs at the fastest pace. Washington State likes to run at a very slow pace. I think Washington State's going to be able to make this game dirty. I think that one thing that Washington State has a good advantage of that we talked about earlier in another game is the height. Washington State's one of the biggest, I think they're the second biggest team in the country. That should be able to negate some of that athleticism from Arizona. I truly think that whether it's Miles Rice or anybody that I think they can guard Love. I'm not trying to say that I think the Cougars win this game, but getting up to 12.5, what I got it to is just way too many. So I have no problem taking the Cougars at this number.
Agreed. Andy, do you agree with us?
Yeah, way too many points. Arizona coming off a game where they won by 50 or 40 against their biggest rival. I think you're coming in with so much momentum that a very tough team in Washington State will start the game well, and I don't know if they'll win it. Ken Pom has it at 11, so I think the line started about what I would have expected. Keeps going up, which surprised me. I thought when we saw that line that Washington State would get all the money, but they're not. I think They're just way too tough to lose this game by this much. This is a circled game for them. They're 20-6, but a lot of people talk about their strength of schedule. And this would be massive if they even play close. I don't know if they're going to win. I don't think they'll win. But anything from this game, if they're playing close, they're going to look at positively. So, yeah, give me Wazoo.
Scoop?
Yeah, I talked to Mrs. Toast. He told me to pick Washington State. So it should be a high-scoring game. Arizona. I know Arizona's dominant at home. I don't think Washington State beats them a second time, but like you guys all said, this is too many points. I know Arizona's a more complete team, but there's definitely a revenge factor here. I see Isaac Jones going toe-to-toe with Ballo. They have more, they have confident shooters in Miles Rice, Jalen Wells, and Jakimovsky. Yes, Jakimovsky. They need him to shoot the three ball well here, since Arizona's pretty poor defending the three. They're going to slow this game down and try to outpace Arizona. So I think they'll have an inside presence all game as well. It's just a big spread. I don't see a blowout here at all. So.
I love how Scoop's reasoning for his bets started. We all just overlooked it. It started with Toast's mom told me to take Washington State.
It's better than they're probably tired.
Arizona
Dude,
scored like what?
What's funny? Wait. With the BYU game and Texas Tech game that day, the announcers both said they look pretty tired out there. I'm like, well,
the announcer said it. Oh,
yeah.
They know it. Yeah.
Oh, that changed.
Probably.
Oh, I didn't realize the announcer said it.
Yeah, well, no, he said they heard this show and they said, "Wow, that guy had some good insight."
Okay.
Is this Scoop's twin brother Poop? 59%, 30% in favor of Washington State. So community definitely leaning towards Washington State. Let's do a community parlay real quick. At the NBA show coming up, so gotta be pretty quick about it. SMU won the poll. We're not even gonna put Purdue money line in there as a 16-point favorite. What else did we do? Minnesota won the poll, and our that guy came in here. He really likes it. Put your house on it, he said. Seems like a really reliable guy. Washington and Arizona State. Washington won that poll.
Whoever asked for the Oakland Robert Morris game, I know Toes likes them too, but yeah, Oakland has solid shooters all around. They're top 100 in every offensive statistic. So, and Robert Morris is a bad defense. Oakland's not a great defense themselves, but they're also not giving up 101 points to Wright State. So Oakland beat Wright State by 14 actually. So I don't see anything but a double-digit Oakland win here. So
I don't understand. I'm missing a couple games here that we went through. SMU. What am I missing? I skipped Gonzaga and Purdue, but there should be 3 more games. I'm only seeing 1. I'm missing 2 games here that we did. You know what? I'll just go to the tweet I sent out. That'll be the best way to find it.
Also, Ohio State, Michigan, Northwestern, Washington, Arizona State, Gonzaga, Portland, Arizona State, Cal.
Arizona State, Cal, Michigan, Northwestern are the 2 I forgot. So it looks like Minnesota money line is going to make the community parlay.
Minnesota.
And I know someone on your tweet asked for UC Davis, UC Northridge.
I didn't get a chance today.
Yeah, but when I looked at that game, I spent a good 10 minutes on UC Santa Barbara and UC Irvine. I saw I was on the wrong. I was on the wrong UCs, and then I saw there was a UC San Diego, UC Riverside. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't care. I'm not angry. I don't even want to do this anymore. So I didn't look at it anyway.
As far as that game, I looked at it just before we went live. UC Davis has lost like 3 in a row, but to pretty decent teams. I would lean that way. I think that Northridge is kind of one of those teams that's kind of valued a little high because they've played pretty well over the last couple of weeks. So I'd lean UC Davis. It is on the road though, but yeah, I would lean that way.
All right, so we'll do these 3 here. Get the winner of this, and then we'll do a poll with the remaining.
And I think UC Davis beat them by like 25 earlier this year.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the Detroit Mercy game. I think Wright State's gonna pulverize them tonight. They're Wright State's minus.
That numbers came down. It went to 12. It's down to 10.5 now.
I don't even know how. Yeah, Wright State very heavy.
Someone said, Paul, you're on to something. Paul's the guy that was tweeting out all the emojis. Paul, you're on to something.
Minus 125. He's on to something.
There's also like Cal State, Bakersfield,
Paul, you're on to
Cal
something.
State, Fullerton. There's so many Cal teams, man.
Yeah, the fact that they're all in the same conference too, the UCs, is annoying.
Yep.
So
You have to read.
we got Northwestern money line has been added, and now we'll put SMU money line, Washington money line, and
Now I feel like Minnesota is like gonna lose. Like
I know. Me too.
I
I
was
swear to
thinking
God,
that
me
before all
too.
this happened. I was thinking this before all this happened. When I woke up and it was still at 3.5, I was like,
Yeah, I didn't like it last night. I woke up, I liked it a little less. Now this psychopath in the comments, I like it a little less.
and he's doing the Paulie Walnuts, like the Italian thing for some reason. That just fucks me up. I don't know.
Yeah. Never trust a guy named Paul, someone said. I was going by his name. I was saying never trust a guy who uses 15 emojis in a text that's less than a sentence. All right, we're taking first and second from this poll. Looks like it's going to be Washington State plus 13 and Stanford money line, but we'll see. Never call Paul. All right, give it a few more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2. What's Andy? Someone wants to know what your best NBA bet is.
I've been seeing this. This guy put it a few times. Why I don't do NBA? I watch the NBA playoffs. The regular season doesn't interest me at all. There's too much of nothing in the regular season. But if I had to say, I know the Celtics play today. The Celtics are going to cover. That'll be what I go with.
Celtics have not been covering.
Awful against the spread.
Okay.
I know.
Sauce.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Northwestern, Washington State plus 13, and what else?
Stanford money line.
Got it.
Okay.
That should at least juicy
Wrong,
make
but
it.
okay.
Plus 478 is my guess.
Way up. 592 on FanDuel.
Way up. That's kind of close. Jeez.
It's 100.
All right, community parlay today is Minnesota money line, Northwestern money line, Washington State plus 13, Stanford money line plus 592. Thanks everyone for tuning in. NBA show in 18 minutes. It's just me and Matt Modi today because Prop Beaver bailed on the show. But that being said, I know everyone's pumped for the NBA to come back. Dude, with the 7 days off, there's not a ton of value tonight. So if you're looking for some advice on the NBA, we're going to go through it. I'm going to go through every game, and I am betting it. But I would say take it a little light tonight as far as your bet sizes. All right, so I'll be back in 17 minutes. Talk to you guys later.